at the Kangaroo Court. We got a order that was illegally served to us the other day. That was rescheduling our trial. I think that they're gonna try to pull like a Ruby Ridge on us. Y'all here for Kangaroo Court too? Is this the line to get in? Howdy. Y'all here for Kangaroo Court too?
Yeah.
All right. So this is the scheduled day of our trial. What happened was they waited till like 4 hours before close of business, right before my last live stream, to reschedule this trial. You can see here, this is the entrance to get into the courthouse. And when they did it invalidly. They did it with an invalid order. Hold on a second, I gotta fix all this. They did it with an invalid order from Judge George. If you remember, this is I got this emailed to me by the Attorney General, which in itself, this is continuing my court case that was supposed to be held today. And they emailed this to me like a couple hours before close of business Friday, and which of course today would be my court day, so they did that the day before the business day. And if you look down here, it's signed by President Judge Michael George. Well, if you look back at our recusal order number 1 from January 15th, recusing all judges of the 51st Judicial District, that's Judge George right there. And if you look back, so that was the one that they kept hidden, right? Because it was so bad. That's where he assigned the court administrator to follow laws that he didn't even cite. And then that's why he redid this one, where he actually cited a law, but it's the wrong law. So he's here having made another invalid judgment. So we have court today by legal standards. And this was emailed to me actually by the Attorney General, my prosecutor. So that's not even a formal legal service. So that's what we're doing here today. For some reason, there's a line outside. Apparently, there's a big safari going on here up at the big top. It's a big circus. So I guess we're gonna wait in line and double check, make sure that they're tracking. We showed up for court today because this invalid order, which if you look on here, remember we were talking about the clerk of court stamp and the patonetary stamp? That's not on here. So this is like a thrice invalid document issued by a president judge, who should, by the time he's an expert career jurist as a president, he should know a lot better by then. So this again is not admitted to the court record. This copy that I got emailed to me by the Attorney General, it hasn't been entered into the court record. There's no stamp on here that says it has. So what they could have been doing is having me not show up for court and then losing this document and say, hey, well, nothing was admitted to the record, and then they'd have a warrant for my arrest. And they could show up in the middle of the night, shoot my dog. Y'all, I saw a couple people on here that were from overseas. Google Ruby Ridge, and that happened in Idaho. And what they did was they flubbed serving the guy a document so that they could investigate his house, or put surveillance on him. And they had sniper teams on the guy. He's some guy living way out in the woods with his family, like living off grid and whatnot. And they put a couple sniper teams to observe him. They put sniper teams, and one of the kid's dogs, one of his son's dogs, ran out and found one of the observers and was barking at him, so the sniper shot him. So then the kid's like, who's in my yard shooting my dog? So the kid shot at the cops, and the one cop got shot, and then they killed the kid. And then the family ran back into the house, and like as the door was closing, he was getting his wife back in the house. Like she was in the house, turning around, they were closing the door, and she got shot in the head, dead. It was like a big 6-day standoff. So that's the kind of things that happen here in America that you don't hear about on the news. and that's the overreaching power. And this right here is exactly how they do it. They put in illegal orders, and maybe this would go missing, and then they'd have the legality to show up to my house, to put it under surveillance, to shoot my dog and try to engage me, hopefully silence me out. And if you guys think that that's crazy, remember, not stamped by the prothonotary, not stamped by the clerk of courts, not entered. We look back at these guys, which I actually have another revelation about his full bench recusals that he hid. There's a lot more to that going on, which we're gonna try to get into. I might as well just cover it now because we're in a line outside the Big Top Courthouse. We're gonna have to wait. We're in a big line. So again, this is what I got serviced, his full bench recusal number 1. And that sign, you see that, how that's written in pen up there on that second number? That's the hidden court document. And that's because when you look through here, I was actually not supposed to get this when I fired my attorney, the secretary. She ended up sending me documents that I'm not supposed to get. And you look at here and look at that. This is the actual order, the recusal number 2. And you see how there's no number written in there? And do you see how there's no stamp on there? That's because it was issued on 19 January when this actually went through. But so that they could later come in and write it in pen and woo! America! I'm a minor internet celebrity civil activist. This court hid my stabbing because I was an out-of-town veteran, so I've been investigating them. And because I've been doing that, they now have me on charges for standing in that public foyer right there for 5 years. And the guy that stabbed me, he's a little friend of the cops, he got off with disorderly conduct and an illegal sentence of ARD, which is not legal for violent offenders. Only if I agree to it. They had the victim's witness in there that works for the district attorney, illegally approved this all for that guy. That's right there, that's where I got stabbed. I'm the guy, if you Google me at Walmart, I'm the guy that disarmed him of his prior service. I disarmed him of his pistol when he pulled it on me and ran away. He chased me down with 2 knives and stabbed me. All on video. Cops lost it, didn't charge him for nothing of it. So I come up here, I'm investigating these guys, and they arrest me for standing in that public building in the foyer right there. I'm sorry, no. Oh, I didn't know. Thanks. Y'all were supposed to be overviewing my trial right now. They just illegally recused this. Y'all were supposed to be my jurors right now. Thanks for the heads up. I'm so glad I got a chance to talk to y'all and tell you what really happens in these courts. Lincoln Square, Leonidas. I'm the king of the kangaroo courts up here. Thanks, y'all.
Man, I couldn't tell you, I'm afraid.
Ooh, we're going in. I'm sorry, Mark. I didn't know all these guys were here for me.
Oh, they're not. You got continued.
Yeah, but that's an invalid order, remember? I'm trying to go into court. Well, that's because they're here for jury duty, and they told me to come in for my trial. I'm trying to show up on time legally so you guys don't pull a Ruby Ridge on me.
They should have notified you that you had your continuance. So there's
Right. Do you see that? Do you see this illegal order?
I can't determine whether it's legal or illegal.
I know, that's why I'm here to talk to a judge. Do you see how there's no court stamp on this document?
I understand. Can you step over
Do you
here
see
while
how it's issued by a judge that has recused himself?
I understand.
Uh-huh.
I don't know anything about the paperwork or where you're
Can you
supposed
get
to
in
be.
touch with Don Fenimore, the court administrator,
That's
and
what
make
they'll say with
sure,
everybody. Yeah.
so I can just stand here and so you guys aren't going to make sure that I'm late for my trial and then they come issue a bench warrant for my arrest because this is an illegal order that has not been entered into the prothonotary.
I understand what you're saying. I will get somebody for you.
So you can get in touch. I'll stand right here. You can touch with Don. You get in touch with Don Fenimore.
Process of people.
Well, the last you just told me to get in the end of the line, and they told me that that's for jury duty. Can you get in touch with Don Fenimore, the court administrator?
Take care of these people first. You won't be late because you got continued, so you won't get in trouble.
But that's not a legal order. It didn't get continued, and it's not stamped by the clerk of courts, and it's by an invalid judge. This is how this courthouse hid my stabbing. This is how this courthouse hid my triple attempted murder mark.
And I have already told you I will get you somebody. I got to process these people so they can get it. Because they would get warrants if they don't show up for their jury duties.
So that's the trick you'll pull on them, was the trick you pull on me if I didn't show up right now with this invalid order.
You got continued. There are other cases besides
This is not
yours
legal.
They need to get inside. Okay, we'll check. And I've already said that.
So Don Fenimore has to process these people that are here for jury duty right now. That's his job.
That's not his job.
Well, then get in touch with him and ask him what's going on with my courtroom.
You see, I have a job to do.
Not much
I'm
of
gonna
one.
take care of this job.
You also had to arrest me for standing in that public building. Remember that?
And if you continue to stand here again, I'll do it again.
For what? Standing in public.
It's called defiant trespass, and if I ask you to leave, that's defiant.
It's not a legal order because I'm here legally to make sure that this court does not then find a different reason to arrest me.
You're currently legally asking permission to check on things for your paperwork. I get it.
I am here for a legal reason. Absolute legal reason. You can't trespass me.
Did you hear me? You are here for a legal reason.
You just said you were going to trespass me for defiant trespass, but I'm here legal. Dude, you can ask me all you want. It's illegal order.
I will get somebody.
You have a radio? Do you have that guy right there? You can go get in touch with Don.
All right, here's
You can go get in touch with Don right now.
not right now. But
You
I
can.
will.
He can't. He doesn't have a radio. How about I go get in touch with Rick in there? Pretty Rick.
He's got his job to do too.
He's on the phone right now. He can call Don Fenimore. He's on the phone right now as we speak. You see, there's Ricky on the phone. I'll just talk to these guys that are my potential jurists. All right. Hey, all y'all that were here for jury duty, I'm sorry. You guys are actually here today to show up to this court hiding my triple attempted murder and stabbing. That happened right there. The guy that pled out to that is pled out to disorderly conduct illegally. And I'm in here because I was standing in that public foyer and they arrested me and they had me for 5 years. Of one of the follow-on charges is disorderly conduct. So I am literally being charged with more jail time and more grievous charges than the guy that they hid my triple attempted murder for. Put that stab wound right there. Now, this guy's a friend of the cops. He actually still allowed to carry his weapon around you and your family in public. He's still armed. The reason he stabbed me is because I disarmed him of his pistol that he pulled on me, and I ran away and he chased me down with 2 knives and stabbed me. That's the kind of guy that this courthouse wants armed around you and your family. I bumped into him in public and I filmed it. Still armed with his pistol in public at the grocery store. If y'all go shop at the grocery store, you will bump into this guy while he's armed. He's the kind of guy that will find a reason to pull his pistol on you, chase you down and stab you, and he still has it. And he has nothing to worry about from the cops. And he was a violent offender. He did this a year before and pled out to having an illegal firearm loaded in his vehicle, which again is illegal. ARDs, and you're not allowed to have it as a repeat offender, as a violent offender. All of this is illegal, and that's why this courthouse is hiding it. And while I was investigating it, they arrested me for standing in that public foyer right there, and I'm facing 5 years. Y'all came today to see my trial, putting me in jail for 5 years for having a problem with them hiding my triple attempted murder. And the sheriff who is a big veteran up here in town, he still signs off on his legal carry permit. He's still allowed to carry around you and your family. The sheriff allowed that. I went up to the veterans event because the sheriff is a Vietnam vet and so am I. I'm an Iraq vet. I went up there to ask him for help on Veterans Day and he kicked me out of the Veterans Day event. This is all online on my channel, Lincoln Square Leonidas. Y'all were showed and called up here today to put me away. And you know what? The Attorney General's prosecuting my case because I'm suing these guys up here for racketeering all by myself. This is what really goes on in this town. I can't make this up. It's all on my website. I've been up here. I'm not allowed on the town's Facebooks. If any of y'all are on the town's Facebooks, I would really appreciate you put my stuff up and see how fast it gets yanked down. That's how anti-establishment, but this is how anti-liberty this courthouse is. That stab wound right there. Well, tell me, what do you have a problem? What do you have a problem with? Well, you're the one that has an annoying voice. Why are you talking? Oh, really? I'm glad you're not one of my potential jurors. Yeah, maybe you'll get called back in next week. So what's your problem with me having a problem about getting stabbed? If you got stabbed and these guys hid your triple attempted murder, well, they'll do it to you. Well, you're the one running your mouth with the annoying voice, man. Yeah, I thought so. Whatever, dude. You're gonna talk shit to me, I'll pull it right back. Dude, I was honed in the Army. That's how I pulled that pistol out of his hand, and that's how I just nip shit your shit talking right there. Thanks, that's a video. Do you have a name you want to tell people who you are? Are you just glad you didn't have to inconvenience you and listen to me defend myself in court as a veteran from these guys hiding my triple attempted murder? I'm glad. You are at Gettysburg because you got called here for jury duty. I'm very glad you got to represent this town on video. You did a great job of it. You're laughing like all nervous, but you're the one that the nation's gonna watch talking shit to me about having a problem with them hiding my triple attempted murder. I'm glad you're not on my jury. Actually, it would have been great because it would have showed everyone the support that I get here in Gettysburg, because this sheriff signed off on the guy that's carrying a pistol around your kids, and you're gonna talk smack to me. That's great. I'm glad. Hi, yes ma'am. How do you think I felt when I got stabbed? This guy's still around you and your family in public. Uh-huh. Well, likewise, I'm very sorry that you're upset, but this happened. I was speaking so everyone could talk. Uh-huh. But this is public speaking. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to prevent, okay, triggers are about worrisome events. A worrisome event would be getting chased down and stabbed. How do you think I felt when I got chased down and stabbed and had all the cops hide it? No, I'm expressing my point. So I can't make everyone feel comfortable about it. Obviously, this guy right here, who won't share his name. And that's kind of part of the point. So maybe y'all would talk about it and put it up on your Facebook and discuss this. It's completely taken down from town. This is not allowed to be talked around town. Well, likewise, this is something that is uncomfortable because this guy is walking around in public. Well, that's public speaking. I have to talk so everyone can hear me. I understand. I understand what you're saying, but this is why I actually came over, because this guy yelled up over top and talked to me about shutting up. That's literally why I'm here right now. It's because this guy started yelling. I was talking to these people up here, and I came over to engage this guy who has a problem with me having a problem getting stabbed. Oh man, how do you think you should feel uncomfortable? So a guy standing around with a raised voice is much more engaging, is much more worrisome than a guy walking around armed in public with a license to kill, despite anything.
Hi, Jake.
Yo, what's up?
I'm Officer Orth.
Officer Orth? Yes. No. No.
Okay, well, these people don't want you to bother them.
They're not. I'm not.
But clearly you are.
Well, this guy, this is public speaking, man. How is it illegal to bother somebody by public speaking?
I'm just saying you're bothering them.
You're finding something that's illegal in something completely legal. Look at this. Look at these shots. I don't want to get stabbed and have you guys hide it.
Nobody's going to stab you.
It's not right now. Not everyone's looking and I'm live casting.
You're talking about the
Weichert, hey, you're the sergeant that threw that complaint across the room at the female officer, right? When she was, that whole Caricato fiasco where he pervert videotaped that female officer, the one female officer we had in town, and she complained about it and y'all hit it and you threw her complaint across the room at her. And then Michael Caricato got a separation package and he got out to plead to ARD for his felony pervert videotaping of a fellow, the only female police officer we could keep on our post. And I'll pull up when on the live, I'll interject, where she says in the paper that you threw her complaint across her desk at her. Apparently I'm bothering Sergeant Weichert now too. No, I'm not. Well, did you want to respond to what I'm talking about? You don't have any comment about throwing a female officer that later got fired. So now we don't even have a female officer on the force because you threw her complaint across the desk and she had to take a settlement to get out. And the pervert cop that did it, well, I was bothering other people and now I'm talking to Sergeant Weichert.
You're bothering people now.
That's what you were saying. I was saying that as a euphemism.
You just admitted that.
Don't touch my camera.
Don't
Do not touch my camera. You get out of my face. I was standing here talking. You came over here.
We got a complaint.
And you can complain all you want. Hey, you know what? I have a complaint. These guys up here hit my triple attempted murder.
Nothing I can do for you.
I know you couldn't because you don't want to. That's just like when Sergeant Weichert here threw that complaint, that sexual harassment complaint, across the room at the female officer who later settled for millions of dollars. I remember that. I have it's up on my website where I'm citing the news article about it. It doesn't mean it's true, but it can mean it's true. It just doesn't mean you got charged for it. Because you guys hit my triple attempted murder, you're capable of some awful things up here in town. And here we go with the walk of shame. We're gonna find out a way to get arrested now. This is a public spot, y'all. I'm legal to be here. Let's see how we're gonna fix this. So are you gonna charge me with harassment for talking in public? You guys arrested me for standing in that public building right there completely legally. This is how we formulate things. What's the matter? You don't know the law? Dude, this ain't even his jurisdiction out here. I know, it's weaponized to make stabbing of out-of-town veterans legal. And apparently, pervert videotaping, Sergeant Weichert, you would know all about that. That Michael Caricato case. Come on, that was huge up in town. He's a pervert. He was pervert felony videotaping a female officer, and she had to catch him, and then he pled out to ARD to a felony, which is like a sheriff's wipe thing. And you made that possible because you were the supervisor. That was millions of dollar blunder. Oh, so you didn't throw her complaint across your desk at her. So that news story is incorrect? Oh, really? Because but you know, it's old news, but it still happened. You are still capable of this and you're still in charge, Sergeant. Walk of shame. I'd hide my face too. So what law are we breaking now, gents? Standing here talking with people in public. You don't have to tell me what I'm able to do.
People who do not want to talk to you. You can't continue to try to talk to them.
That's called the First Amendment. So somebody not wanting, look at this guy. This is Orth. Listen to this guy. You just made a soundbite. So somebody not wanting to listen to what I am saying makes it illegal because you don't want to listen to what I'm saying. Look at that. Sergeant Orth, can you believe that? You just made a crazy soundbite for all us internet cats that expose these criminal courts for that. Because somebody doesn't like what I'm saying, I have to shut up or I'll get arrested. That's what Sergeant Orth just said right there. Yeah, if you just said that if they didn't like what I'm saying, then I'm bothering them and harassing them.
I'm not going to argue with you.
What, I know you're not, because I know the law. That's why we're still standing here and I'm not arrested. Those were empty threats. Please. For what? I've been here. You're the one that came up here and asked to talk to me. I was standing here before you showed up and came in your car from over there. Because I'm here to make sure that these clowns up here don't try to pull another Ruby Ridge on me. You know how these guys hid my triple attempted murder?
I didn't follow that.
No. Well, how about you give me your card and I'll show you. Why don't you show your concern?
I'm not interested.
I know you're not interested in that because it incriminates all these cronies up here that you're protecting. So, Sergeant Orth, protecting them from what? If you would get the guy that still has his firearm that's walking around town illegally off the streets. You would care. If you cared about these people right here, you would care to have a guy that stabs people after he fucking gets disarmed of them. That's what you would care about if you cared about these people. Try me again, Sergeant Orth. Everything that comes out of your mouth is just like a complete fallacy. That's why this guy quit talking. That's why that Sergeant Weichert over there ran away over there. What do you got, man? What do you got? I thought so. What? I thought so. I thought so. Huh? Good. I know, because that's what you do. That's what you do when you guys come. Yeah. So there's that stab wound right there where the guy pled out to ARD. You know that's illegal, right? You know it's illegal to get ARD if you're a violent offender? It's illegal to get ARD if you're a violent offender. So again, I'm teaching you the law. Again, thanks for agreeing with me again. So, Corporal Orth.
Thank you for teaching me the law.
Yeah, you're welcome. Hey, that's another soundbite, man. That's great. I appreciate this. We're going places.
You should take that out of context.
Oh, do you want to say that again for the camera? I wasn't filming. I was going back over to Sergeant Weichert over there. Sergeant Weichert, do you know how many millions of dollars that costs the town in legal fees? When you hid that felony pervert videotaping of Michael Caricato? Do you know how much that cost the town? How many millions that cost the town? You don't know. You're shaking your head. See? He doesn't know. Do you guys remember that? Do you guys remember the pervert cop, Michael Caricato? He's the one who was felony videotaping the one female officer we had here on the force. And she complained, and it was a felony, and then they let the guy off with ARD. He ended up with more of a settlement than what she made on her lawsuit for getting illegally fired. That's Sergeant Weichert right there. That is Sergeant Weichert right there. Boom. We're going to follow that up. We're going to follow that up with a bunch of things posted. You see how I have all these slides? Him showing up today, we just took advantage of that. That's how guerrilla fighters got to work, man. You got to engage targets of opportunity. And that douchebag right there, look at this, they're talking to me. Hang loose, bro. That douchebag right there, he had one of his officers who was a pervert, Michael Caricato. You can look it up, Carricato, and you can look it up on Penn Live. It's an article. Pervert cop sues. So anyway, this whole debacle that this guy caused right here cost millions of dollars. And this pervert cop was felony videotaping in the changing room of the one female officer we could have on the force. And she caught him and said, stop. And later he said, stop. But later she found it on his hard drive and then had to make a complaint about that because nobody charged him for when she made the initial complaint until she found it. So then the way they worked it was that they gave Michael Caricato ARD. So it was straight up felony in the bag, right? But they gave him ARD, which is the same thing they gave the guy for stabbing me, because the district attorney up here abuses that. So when they gave him ARD, it allowed him to get out of the charges and sue for his job back. So it was like dragged up in the courts for over a year, and all the lawyers in defense and all those other lawyers, and that's how he got out of it. So he ended up getting a separation package and all his money back and lost wages. So he made money on the deal, and he actually made more because he was on leave for so long. He actually made more than the gal that he a pervert videotaped on duty. He actually made more than her separation package because she sued in federal court, and they sealed it all up, and she walked away with a bunch of money. So this is literally what these guys do. And this guy right here, Mark Masimer, he actually owns a house, co-owns a house with the prosecutor that I'm suing for racketeering. And she's the one who threw me in jail twice on the same charges for the governor's distant niece breaking in my house. That's what I have, that's my racketeering case is about. And that's why this dude arrested me last time I came in here, and then had some of his other guys actually fill out the report so it wouldn't look so bad on paper. But this guy, and this guy's a veteran too, quote unquote. I mean, he's a pirate, but that's what they do. They segue into these and make funny handshaking deals with all these other dirtbag cops. And you're not allowed to see it. A lot of this stuff didn't make the public paper. And there's Mr. Gettysburg right there. We're gonna get him with a pardon shot. And this is the Gettysburg. This is the people who run Gettysburg. And you're not allowed to know what really goes on in these courts and in this town. Thanks, Gettysburg. Are you talking a lot? Does my voice bother you? Is it bothering you, Mr. Gettysburg? Is it bothering you? Is it bothering you that I'm talking? Does your phone work? What do you want, Mark? This guy had a problem with me talking. I don't know. This guy had a problem with me talking in general. Right there, Mr. Gettysburg. Thanks for your support, bro. Thanks for showing the camera and the world the support and love that we get here in Gettysburg for having a problem with getting stabbed. You know, and the court's hiding it. This was going to be one of my jurors right there. So was she. And could you imagine how she would have reacted in the courtroom, hearing all the cops saying all that stuff? So, anyway, we're going to see what's going on. We got Orth back outside. They're planning something. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. Oh, pretty interesting so far. And, okay, so we talked about all this and all these cops and all this hiding this. And what makes this possible are the judges. And if you look right there, this is the guy in charge of this up here. This is our President Judge Michael George. You can see this article where he was running for state Supreme Court, but he lost because he had a gay panic defense where he shamed a gal that survived a shooting into offending the attacker into provoking him to shoot her and her girlfriend. with their offensive lesbianism. This is the article right here. This is who runs this court up here. It's a big article. They actually made a movie short about it in Hollywood. And that's what I'm saying. This is this guy right here. Ooh, the family man. This was his ad for Supreme Court. But that's what he does. If you guys haven't checked that out, we'll talk about that later. That's the Claudia Brenner story. And it's some crazy stuff because he even talks about how he weaponizes the local news force, how he motivated them to instigate a bunch of lesbian hate. This is a guy that was going on our Supreme Court. This is how protected he is. Do you think this is the kind of guy that would hide a triple attempted murder by one of his cronies? Do you think this is the guy that would hide a pervert cop, felony videotaping? Do you think this is the kind of guy that would charge taxpayers millions of dollars to hide this stuff? All they had to do one time was just like hold them accountable at the first instance, and none of this would have escalated this far. None of it would have. See, and they have these guys playing party to it. There's Mr. Orth right there, Corporal Orth, not giving a crap about a guy running around with a firearm illegally, but he's worried about me talking to these people right here, to my former potential jurors. So they say. Who knows? They still might be waiting to put a bench warrant on me. Y'all give me a thumbs up, give me a like, share this stuff. We're gonna get out here. We're gonna see what's going on and what kind of story these guys concoct.
Close to the end of the line.
Mm-hmm.
So you can stay out here and do your live stream in color. You cannot come in this building and do any live streams, okay?
Why not? That's a public forum.
It is for confidentiality of everyone inside the building.
No. The law states that we've talked about this. Why is it? No, that is not a law. That is not a law. That is a poster. That is a piece of paper. All right, so I'm going to email you the actual law, Mark. This is where we're going to have to start to come to. I'm going to email you the actual law.
You asked for Don Fenimore, you asked me to find paperwork for you.
So you're preventing me access from this building. I came in here.
You can try to live stream.
No, I'm completely legal. That is a public building. I'm allowed to videotape in there. What are you going to arrest me for when I walk in there with this camera? Because it's going to happen, Mark. What are you going to arrest me for when I walk in there with this camera? No, what are you going to arrest me for when I walk in this camera? Tell me what you're going to arrest me for when I walk in there with this camera.
If you walk in there with that camera, you're going to get defiant trespass again.
For what?
You understand?
That's a public building.
It is a public building, but for confidentiality reasons, you're not allowed to videotape.
In between the courtroom and the court offices. Is there a courtroom, Mark? Is there a courtroom down here on the first floor? Is there a courtroom down here on the first floor?
Court offices, they are included.
Is it a courtroom or a conference room for the courts? No, none of them are on. This is a civic facility. The courts are on this third and fourth floor. Can I do my taxes for my house in here? Yes. This is a civic building. This is not just a courthouse. That's what happens. That's why you guys have the municipal bump out up there. You don't understand plain laws. You are enforcing laws. You are enforcing laws that you don't know. This is not a law. This is a piece of paper. That is a piece of paper.
Okay, let me go about it a different direction. Rules of engagement. Remember when you went overseas?
Is this a law? Is this a legal law? Do you remember when you were overseas? What'd you do?
This is an area of operation.
You don't even know what you're talking about, man. You were like an MP. That's like, dude, the worst people in the world become MPs. Or you were the Navy equivalent of MP. For y'all at the house that don't know this, MPs, so everyone in the service has to take the same oath. I swear and uphold my right hand for the Constitution of the United States of America, protect and defend against enemies, foreign and domestic. Everybody takes that oath except MPs. MPs raise their right hand to screw over, trip up, and screw with those that raise their right hand to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States. And that's why this dude acts like this. This guy right here. This clown. This is why he's more concerned about me stepping in there with a video camera. This clown too. All right, so now you guys can actually talk to Don Fenimore?
I'm going to try.
So you couldn't have gotten on your radio. So Rick, who was up in there, who was on the phone, couldn't have called Don. I mean, this just turned it into a better live cast.
You're not a priority.
I know, because you guys waited to the day before to make an illegal recusal. It's obvious about that. What? I'm sorry. So why did you throw these? So you don't remember throwing that across the room? The females complain across the room? Da 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 da. Good one, boys. You see this? This is why I have the kangaroo suit on. This is why I have the kangaroo suit on, y'all. This is the absolute clownery that is Adams County Courthouse. This is what goes on up here. You here for the kangaroo court too, bro?
I'm here for court, yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Doo-ba-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Yeah, they're still hanging out up there. So, all right, we're gonna have to test this because this right here is not legal. That is not legal. The state even came down once the Supreme Court ruled that First Amendment videotaping is legal in public. The state actually came out and said, hey, you know what? It might not be good if we have it in certain facilities, blah, blah, blah. You know, there's limitations to that where you do have to respect people's privacy. This little public foyer right here, no business goes on right there except a security check. That is a public spot. That's all public. So whatever they say could be interfered with by, you know, paid confidentiality. It's a complete lie. And that's why the state came out and even put stipulations on that. And they have a law. And it says you can't film in the courtroom or the court conference rooms, which is where they fix the deals off the record, like, you know, right adjacent to them, or in between there. And all of those rooms in this courthouse, quote unquote courthouse, in the civic building, they're all on like 3rd and the 4th floor. So are they gonna plausibly ignore me? I don't know. We've been waiting out here. They could have made a phone call. So it's completely legal to film in there. It is completely legal to film in there. But the thing is that he already told me he was gonna arrest me. And I'm out on bail for the last time they arrested me for filming in there. He said defiant trespass. So I don't think he can defiantly trespass me because I'm here to talk about this illegal order. I don't think he can. What's up, guys? I don't think you can defiantly trespass me because I'm here to talk about a legal order. You guys need to get Don Fenimore on the line and tell him that I don't have court. I've waited this long. You need to leave. That is not a legal order. I'm here to check in with the court administration. Yeah, I'm here to check in with the court administration. I am here to check in with the court administration. They don't answer. I am here to show up for my trial and show up. This is an invalid order. I am here to talk to Don Fenimore, the clerk of courts. Are you going to arrest me again for standing in a public building? Is Don out here? Is Don Fenimore out here? I need to talk to the clerk of court. I need to talk to the court administrator. I need to talk to the court administrator. I need to talk to the court administrator.
You need to leave.
No, that is not a legal order. I am here because I had court today.
Here.
No, here's this invalid order. You see, you got a hold of it.
Turn off the camera and leave the building.
No, I'm here for court.
Not allowed to videotape inside.
That's not a legal order. That's not a legal order. I'm here to check in on this invalid order. This is an invalid order. This is not a legal. Look at them put their hands on me. This is not a legal order. Okay, I've been defiant trespassed. Thanks, douchebags. Let's go. I've been defiantly trespassed. Here we go. Thanks, guys. I've been defiantly trespassed, trying to check in so that these guys don't Ruby Ridge me. Find a reason to break into my house to come arrest me for my safety because I couldn't show up to court because that's an invalid order. Howdy. Sorry. They hid my triple attempted murder. I'm hot on them. I'm not letting them go. So, all right. Now, we got what they said. I have been defiantly trespassed for... you guys remember this? You guys remember that up here? Can you see it? That's the Blue Star Memorial Building. That's where it's this whole building's dedicated to the soldiers who went to protect our freedoms and then come home and have all these shit bags hide their triple attempted murders by one of their little funny handshaking cronies. That's what this is actually dedicated for. So we're gonna go over these newfound documents, all right? So this is what I got right before I went live on Friday to update you guys about my trial because I still hadn't had a judge assign. I disqualified Judge Maslin because he's a super douche and I beat him off the bench by myself as a pro se Counselor Kangaroo, right? So they waited. They didn't assign. President Judge Michael George here, famous for gay panic murder defense. This guy waited 15 days to kick it up to get assigned, and then they waited another 15 till hours before the close of business, before the day before my trial, which is right here, to send me this order of the court signed by President Judge Michael George. Where is it? Famous for gay panic murder defense. So anyway, that's what they sent me. Now, this douchebag recused himself already once, right? Recusal order number 1, that's where he recused himself. And then twice, see right here, recusal order number 2, bang, recusal order number 2, right there. And so this order now, staying my trial and all proceedings, is invalid because it's made by an invalid judge, President Judge Michael George, famous for gay panic murder defense, right? So that means I still had my trial. Now, the really crazy thing about that is this was not entered onto the record. This was not entered onto the record. So no, it's not stamped by the clerk of courts. So this could have been a completely false and fabricated document, and it wasn't legally served to me. I got it emailed to me by my prosecutor. He's the attorney general. So this is a complete fabrication of a document. So you could imagine how I was thinking this whole weekend, like, should I show up to court? Because if they didn't file this and I don't show up, they can say they tried to have my trial and then send me to jail. And that's what the whole Ruby Ridge thing was about. They'd have a legal reason to come arrest me. And you can see all this. This is me covering, and this is what happens with the cops. He's actually legally parked out in the sidewalk. So this is how bad they'll work to get around this complete, absolute craziness. So, in this vein, you see how there's no stamp on there? I do have to do a minor redaction from my last podcast. So the difference between the prothonotary stamp and the clerk of court stamps is a civil matter, okay? I screwed that up. I had my head up my ass. However, I looked up the laws as it pertains to the clerk of courts putting it on the record, and they have to file it when it happens. So we caught him again, but wait we had some more revelations on that. So remember, we were talking about recusal order number 1 on January 15th. And you look up here, and here's this little written in number 8, right? On the second case, this is the hidden record that they hid. You're like, what the heck? That's weird. And then you look up here at recusal order number 2 that he issued 4 days later, and you look up here, and here's number 8 right there, okay? Handwritten in there, and this is on the 19th. Well, what's bizarre, thanks. Did you get a hold of Don Fenimore? That's from Don Fenimore. That's interesting that you guys can make phone calls about the craziest stuff, and I couldn't get handed something. So anyway, so this is the recusal order number 2 that he did 4 days later, with again that hidden court docket penciled in there. So you can imagine my surprise. I'm looking through this stuff last weekend, and I'm looking at the original documents, and holy smokes, what's this right here? This is recusal order number 2 by President Judge Michael George, famous for gay panic murder defense, except there's no stamp on here. There's no clerk of court stamp on here. And guess what else isn't on here? The number, the handwritten number. On what planet did they leave a space on a pre-filled document for a blank number? That's so that later, when they actually filed this on the hidden docket, they could come by and pencil in this number 8 and stamp it and admit it to the record. And that's why this is actually dated, was it 19th? Is this the 19th one? Yeah. That's why it's dated the 19th. But nothing happens on this hidden record until it's created, on the 27th, 28th, which is when they held their secret cabal to figure out how they were going to work this. So that's exactly what I was talking about, this crazy stuff, and what they try to pull on you up here in these in these courts when you expose them for being the bunch of criminals that they are. So I want to touch on one last thing. Oh, actually, okay, second to last thing. When I originally got arrested up here in January, yeah, we know they hide perv cops. When I got arrested up here in January, this is what I walked in with. This was my little brief of what I was investigating when I came up here. And this is a sequential ROA report. It's like the court actions report in the case that I was following, where they weaponized the courts against the dude who's divorcing the president of the county bar's daughter, you know, and like illegally cycle her a house and all this other stuff. But if you look on here, this is the same stunt that they were pulling. If you go look on my live stream, that's what I'm investigating these guys for. That's why I got arrested for standing in that building. So you go look through here, through the dates, and you see they're messing around with the stamp again, except it's prothonotary because this one's a civil divorce case. So here we have no date, and this is before retired Judge John Kuhn gets up here. This dude's cousin is like the commissioner, who's like the commissioner lead of all the Pennsylvania commissioners. It's crazy. Randy File, he's super douche. I have him ignoring me on the camera here too. So you look and there's no date, and he's on here on the record making a ruling before he's even assigned. He doesn't get assigned till down here. Then you look at the other recusal for the other judge who made rulings and then recused herself, and that's intermixed up in here. That's why I got arrested. I was following this case. This is what they routinely do. They use the court administration to hide exactly what's going on. That's how they hid my triple attempted murder. That's what the guys, the victim's director, Cindy Keeney, she's up here. She allowed the guy that stabbed me into ARD, which is illegal, but she works for the district attorney. So that was illegally admitted by the DA, the judge, the opposing attorney, the prosecuting attorney. All of that had to work in concert for that crazy shit to happen, and it did. And that's exactly what I was investigating, and that's exactly what they're doing to me again right here. So, the last thing I want to touch about is actually an idea. This was what was going on. This today was covering my butt in case they try to say I didn't show up for trial and issue a bench warrant. Come shoot my dog, right? You can shoot me. You know, at least we stood up and had a thing, but don't shoot my dog, man. And the last thing I want to talk about is marketing. So I'm completely banned off social media. Can't get out on Reddit. I can't get out on the local Facebooks. I'm banned off Facebook, So I need y'all's help to get this out, and this is the best way we're going to do it. We're going to carry this story about this president, Judge Michael George, and him victim shaming the surviving member that got shot up because of her lesbianism. So if you guys know Mr. Ballin, he's one of the most popular YouTubers. He's a cool dude. He's a former Navy SEAL. He's real laid back, and he tells scary stories and some stories of his adventures along his life. But he's got a real popular YouTube channel. He's a really good storyteller. This is a really good story. Mr. Ballin, MR_BALLEN. He's on YouTube, and this guy takes stories about other veterans and other things and incorporates them into them. So this could be like a double story for him. He has a Reddit page. If you go on, it's Reddit Mr. Ballin. And if all you guys go on there and tell him everything that's going on down here, he could get a twofer. Because not only could he talk about what's going on with me, if he wants to or not, but this right here, this story is absolutely batshit. And I'll link it down below in the description when I get done and back to the house with all this stuff. But what happened was, back in the late 80s, Claudia Brenner and her girlfriend were walking the Appalachian Trail. You know, that's pretty badass for a couple chicks to do back in the 80s, you know, like by themselves. And they got to where they are here in Adams County on the trail, and they had a crazy mountain man that was like trying to make passes at them, and he was actually holed up living up there, kind of homeless. He was mentally deranged, and that's why he was living out in the woods, man. He encountered them on the trail and then followed them. And when they like turned down his advances and moved their camp to hide from him, he was offended. And then he found out that they were lesbians and got insulted that they turned him down. So he shot him up with his .22 rifle, like while they were laying there around in their campground. He shot them both up. Didn't instantly kill the one gal, but he killed her friend, or he shot her friend and burst her liver, so she was bleeding out. And Claudia actually had to go for help with her girlfriend bleeding out, like crawl, because Claudia was shot up in the back and all this. She crawled 3.5 miles, had to leave her friend bleeding out. Her friend was like, no, go. The only hope we have is for you to go get rescue. Claudia crawled through like 3.5 miles of Appalachian Mountain Trail. I hike that place all the time. Well, I can't say that now, they know I do. This is not easy stuff to get through. She crawled through, shot up multiple times by a .22 rifle, and got to the street and got help And by the time the posse came, her friend had bled out. They ended up catching the guy. But within a month of that happening, because they knew who it was, he was a crazy guy. Everyone, all the locals know him. Oh no, he went and hid out at Plain Folk, like Mennonites. They're real cool, nice people. Don't take anybody in. He went and hid out down by them and got discovered. But anyway, President Judge Michael George was tasked to be this dude's defense attorney. And this guy went all out defending this guy, which is their oath, but we'll get into that in a minute. He pulled Claudia Brenner, the surviving member, within a month of her ordeal of surviving of this, put her on the stand and victim shamed her about her lesbianism. This is not, if you read this article, he even later did a book interview on it, and there's like pages in this book where he's bragging about how well that he defended this murderer, this hate crime murderer, and he had her crying on the stand. He was interviewing Claudia. You doing it with your on purpose? Were you offensive lesbianism? Da da da. Had her bawling, crying. She just survived the attack, saved herself, had this traumatic experience, and because she's an out-of-towner, they just crapped on her. And this dude right here, President Judge Michael George, famous for gay panic murder defense, this guy even hired the press out to write offensive pieces about lesbianism during that to influence the public. This is in his write-up in his book. So this story has a lot more details to it, and it's a lot crazier, but this is a perfect story for Mr. Baldwin. This is a perfect story for Mr. Baldwin. And then you know what would make an even better story for Mr. Baldwin? Is if he carries my story where I'm just shitting on this dude and exposing him for hiding my triple attempted murder. How about that for a marketing scheme? So again, y'all, Mr. Baldwin, hit up Mr. Baldwin's Reddit page. This is where he gets things from fans. You have to go on there and everyone has to post and thumbs up the comments because the trolls are gonna get on it and hide it down. Get on Mr. Baldwin's Reddit page and tell him about this story and what I got going on down here to come and burn this piece of shit. Because this is not what America stands for. This is not why Mr. Baldwin went to fight for our Constitution. This is not why I went to fight for our Constitution. That's why this dude stayed home and became a lawyer, a pedophile. And if you guys know, to protect the real estate racket that's going around here, this dude threw a case of double child rape. I get into it on 2 different videos on here. You can link those too. One is police scandal, but that's like an old video, so it's kind of slow. And then my other one is disqualifying judge for pedo connections. And I get into the whole how bad Pennsylvania is. So again, thanks y'all. Much love. We're gonna wrap this up. If y'all hit up Mr. Baldwin's Reddit page, tell him about this Claudia Brenner story. I'm gonna link the description down in the thing because there's a whole bunch more that goes on to it, and it'd make a great follow-up for President Judge Michael George, famous for gay panic murder defense. This dude was about to be one of our Supreme Court judges in Pennsylvania. That's how powerful this dude is, and that's how he's brought to bear. That's how he illegally installed the other 2 judges that were in my case that I had to catch, that my paid attorney didn't catch. Because they're all working together, and they all cut each other deals. So it's just a complete marathon. And anyhow, thanks. Much love to y'all. That was a lot of tension going on there. Hopefully this goes somewhere. I was just doing this to cover my ass, but we had a lot of funny stuff in there, especially that guy that spoke up. And then I started talking shit back to him, like, motherfucker, I was in the Army, man. I got talk shit too, got shit kicked in my face. I got teamed up on, I got group beat. I'm tough, man. I got honed. It made me sharp. I'm good. You talk shit to me, you might regret it because I'm a nice guy, but I can turn that on, man. Like, you could go bring that Bush League stuff out of here. So anyway, much love, y'all. Hit up Mr. Baldwin's Facebook page. I got a whole bunch of other stuff going on that's like happening. So much love. Thanks. Yeah, Susan Bassey's awesome. I really love she does the educational spot. We need to stick together and yeah, y'all get on Mr. Baldwin's Reddit page and for the Claudia Brenner story. I'll put it down below in the descriptions. Thanks for y'all's help. I'll keep y'all updated. We'll try to keep this interesting. Much love. Take care.